Hey, hey, hey! It's
Hello.
Shelby and the Comic Doctor here with More You Know Mondays. What's up, my friend? What's up? How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Oh. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can hear you. Yeah, I was unmuted there for some reason. Sorry about that. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm great. It was working and it stopped working and now it's working again.
Oh my gosh.
It's one of those days, Shelby. It's one of those days.
I know. I watched your live stream today and I really felt bad because, we're dealing with a cold down here in Houston too. I woke up and it was 44 degrees and then the high today was only 62.
Yeesh.
So, I really feel bad for you.
Yeah. Thanks. Oh man, yeah, I know. It was pretty awful out here today. We got hit with a pretty big snowstorm. For those that are watching and don't know, up in the Toronto area, we got hit hard. Probably as high as about a meter, or I'd say about, what would it be, a meter in inches? I don't know. Probably about 3 feet. Yeah, about 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, about 36 inches or so.
Yeah, something like that. Pretty awful.
And it's still I saw your quick video today showing you out in the snow, and then I caught your live stream.
Yes.
So let's say hello to a few people real quick that's popping in. We got Tim Kim, damn it. One of those days. Tim Kosky here. We, of course, got LaCruz's first one in the building. You know who the Comic Doctor is.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Y'all know who that is. See, he knew your name right there. He said your name.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
So, yeah, I've been watching your videos. We were just talking about your little rant video about CGC. And,
it's funny because a lot of people are saying, well, Kevin, you got to think about it. They put the prices up. They're charging dealers a couple of $100 a year, but think about it. It's, they're promoting your business on their website, and you're an authorized dealer, so it looks good, but I mean, yeah, I can see that. I guess they got to get a little something for having the privilege of being a dealer. But at the same time, certain dealers submit so many comics every week, every month, that a measly $200 just seems like a little, like I said in my video, a bit of a slap in the face to those people that have been real, those that have worked hand in hand with CGC for the last so many years. I mean, I've been a dealer with them for probably 6 years now, I think, going on 6 years, something like that.
Well, and no offense to any dealer, any way they do their business and such. I'll caveat this after I say it. Anyway, is I'd have to imagine that probably 90-something% of their business is people sending in brand new books to get those 9.8s, and such. Hey, and like I said, I caveat it. Probably a good third of my business is selling 9.8s. Because people demand those, they want those, they're desirable.
Yeah, on the modern books, for sure.
And such. But it seems like there should also be some preference given to those that are submitting the I'll just go ahead and say vintage books, which would be a large umbrella, of course, of what that could be. But the vintage market of sending in those books that, and no one take this the wrong way, that really deserves the encapsulation to protect them, right? Because these are fragile older books with really high dollar values that have a long period of showing sustained growth in the market and things like that, right? Not your latest issue of
Whatever.
Venom exclusive cover J, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got you. Just for me though, as a dealer, like I said, I use as an example on my own channel, like with FedEx. I deal with FedEx, and the more business I give FedEx, the more discounts they give me.
Yeah.
They treat you like a partner almost. And I wish I'd get more of that from CGC. That's all. I mean,
yeah.
Other companies, other vendors do that with their clients, right? The more business you provide, then the more perks you're going to get. It's an incentive to continue to use them and to
yeah. And when I was watching your live stream today, you knew every person on there. You knew, what their book was, and everything. And that's the kind of, I don't know, personal service, right? It's like, who is my rep? Can I have a rep? Can I have a person I can talk to?
Right.
That I know I can call up. They handle these business accounts, something like that, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
We'll get into them about how hard it is to call them up.
Right.
Which basically you can't. It goes to an answering service, and then you have to email and stuff.
No,
I don't have the private number or anything. Shutterduck says he's sheltering in place, I guess. Welcome, Shutterduck. Glad you're here.
How you doing?
But anyway, all right. So enough about our rant and stuff. I'm not sure if I got much else going on. I've been dropping a few videos, also showing some wet cleaning techniques and stuff. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to visit any of those. I'd love professionals' opinion on some of those things. And
I started watching one, and then I got taken away. But you're not alone. A lot of guys have been calling me and asking me about the whole wet cleaning thing, and I've just stayed away from it. It's a whole other dimension and a whole other skill set, right? And I've played around with some wet cleaning. I do a little bit, but I don't get aggressive with the wet cleaning, because I really just think, you're just opening up another can. I always say to open a can of worms. I don't want to open that can of worms on someone's book. So I just stay away from it. I do what I know. And, maybe if, as you know, or maybe I'm not sure if you know or not, but I'm bringing in an assistant, I guess you could say, to help me.
I heard that today. You were training someone.
Right. So perhaps when that gears up and we're moving tickety-boo, maybe I'll have more time to investigate it. But really, I don't think I really want to get into that sort of thing, restorative work and all that sort of stuff. If I've got a book that's really in need of wet cleaning or some kind of solvent clean, then I'll just send the book off to someone like over at Sanderson Studios, Kenny Sanderson. Or have you seen his work at all, Kenny?
I that's a new person to me. I mainly just talk to Rick. Whom I use his products and stuff. And he actually comes down here to Houston on business every now and then. So we talk shop some.
Is he the scientist? Is that his name?
It's Immaculate Comics.
That's right. Yeah. I've seen a video of his as well. Yeah. He's got a whole product line too. Like you said, you're using his products.
He does. He worked for years. He's a chemist
by
trade. So he worked for years on developing his product. He said it took 7 years to develop it and such. Wow. And, but he's got a couple of cool things going. So
yeah, I'll check that out too. Maybe I will dabble. We'll see when the time comes.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and I was talking to someone, because I've been hit up a couple times too, asking if I would take their books, and I've actually passed them all on to you. When they've asked, but like I bought a stack of Silver Age, I practiced on them, and then I think they all turned out really nice. But then I sold them at a discount this past weekend.
Right.
It's like, I use these as practice books. They're impressed and cleaned. I think I came out about $15 under what I paid for them, but they serve their purpose of that. And hey, now you get that book. So
sure, definitely.
All right. Well, let's so I am in the comic room tonight, and instead of the toy room. So I'm surrounded by books, and my setup's a little bit different. I got a TV up above me, so it might be looking like I'm looking up at the ceiling sometimes. But we will, let's see, share my screen here.
Hey, Thomas, how's it going? And hi, James, how are you? I'm just noticing the chat over there on my other screen.
Yeah, I'm moving it up to my top screen. So there we go. There's Thomas. What's up, buddy? As a wet stain, I need them turned into a 9.8.
No problem. Guaranteed. Or your money back. Yeah.
You know, and that's another thing I'm working on too. That's another whole conversation. We'll talk about all that.
Sure.
But hey, let's get into the actual topic here. So this is episode, I think, 6, part 6. Last week we didn't. Oh, so catch everybody up. The reason why Jeff's not here, he had a death in the family. His father-in-law passed away. They just got back from Chicago. The family's okay and everything. So send your, well wishes and stuff if you'd like to Jeff. Hard to come by over on IG. Let him know y'all are thinking about him and his family during this difficult time. But he just wasn't really in the mood with just getting back from Chicago to Tennessee. So thanks, Kevin, for filling in tonight.
My pleasure.
So last Monday was when he actually heard about it. So we called off the show last minute because I didn't want to have to find someone last minute. But the week before, we are up to the 1940s, what we call the boom years, really, of comics. I mean, even today, we do not sell the number of comics or produce the number of comics that were being produced in the 1940s. And we talked about Timely, of course, with All Winners and Captain America, Submariner, Human Torch. We talked about DC, with, of course, Superman, Batman, but then their larger cast of characters, all select, right? And correct me if I'm saying anything's wrong off the top of my head. The Justice Society. And then, of course, Fawcett. Fawcett was really the biggest publisher of the 1940s with Captain Marvel, the Captain Marvel family. But there's a whole other cast of characters that were coming out in the 1940s that we're going to look at tonight. And here we go. There we go. So the first look at is Quality Comics. So we actually talked about this guy, Everett M. Busy Arnold. I love these golden age, or people having these nicknames. And I was trying to think today what my nickname might be, like Shelby Comic Guy Thompson or something, or what my nickname would have been back in the 30s or 40s. But he had a publishing company called Quality Comics that began in 1937. Started with reprints and stuff, with feature funnies, but then changed Feature Comics 1940. And its first character is created by Will Eisner, drawn by Lou Fine, Doll Man. Have you seen a Doll Man comic?
Oh, yes, I have. I think I even have an old Doll Man comic kicking around. I think I have like a second or third appearance of Doll Man.
Wow.
Now, do you is a Doll Man now? Here's a question for you: is the property or the IP of Doll Man now owned by DC and Warner?
Some of these, actually, I did a little research when Jeff and I were looking at making some T-shirts and stuff. Like the T-shirt I'm wearing is actually an old movie poster.
Okay.
And it turns out that a lot of these characters are actually in public domain now.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually use them free. You can take the images and reproduce them. That's why I can reproduce this 1950s movie poster on this shirt because it's now in the public domain.
Huh.
So would have to do a little research, but I think some of them are actually in the public domain now.
Well, the reason I asked, have you been watching Peacemaker at all?
I did watch the first episode.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna. I'll give you one little spoiler. Sorry, but in the third episode, he mentions Dollman. Actually,
Really?
yes, he says, "Oh, there was this guy I used to work with, Dollman. He was shrink all. You know, he was kind of like the Atom, right?" And
Yeah.
that's why I'm wondering if Dollman has been the property has been picked up by Warner or DC. Don't know.
Might have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these went over, like on here. You see Midnight. I'm not sure if that's the same as, like, there's a couple of characters called Midnight, a Captain Midnight, and such. So I'm not sure. I don't know. We'd have to do a little bit of research there.
Yeah, totally. Could have looked into that for sure.
Another publication by Smash Comics was but by quality was Smash Comics, and it featured another creation of Lou Fine, the Ray, who traveled on rays of light and such. Pretty cool. Smash number 18 was a Jack Cole creation called Midnight. And then there's a lot of other titles. Crack Comics, which featured the Space Legion, the Red Torpedo, the Clock, Alias the Spider, that was created by Paul Gustafsson.
Yeah,
and then Madame Fatal. Oh, I love these names.
Yeah.
National Comics, which featured Boy Wonder, Merlin the Magician, and the Kid Patrol. And then Hit Comics, which featured the Red Bee. So, such great stuff. A little bit more about quality. Probably one of my favorites is the Uncle Sam Quarterly, which is done mainly by Lou Fine. Here's one of probably the covers I like is Uncle Sam tearing down the swastika there on the cover. But Quality produced Police Comics, which of course featured Plastic Man, a Cole creation. And he appeared in like 6 pages of issue 1, then became the main character in issue 9. And then in issue 11 debuted The Spirit, which was the first time he had appeared in comics. At this point, he was a 2-year-old character, and he was mainly featured in booklets in Sunday comic sections. There's, of course, Military Comics, which feature Black Hawk. Now, Black Hawk is a DC character.
Right.
That was created by Eisner. And then Best Comics. Publisher Ned Pines founded Best Comics and presented such amazing comics such as thrilling comics, exciting comics, and startling comics. Oh, I love these adjectives, right? It's got to be the adjectives, I guess. Of all these, right?
Do you own a lot of these books yourself?
I own 0 of these.
Really? Okay.
I own 0. I've had them a few off and on throughout my life, but usually they were in such bad condition.
Yeah.
People don't understand that back in the 70s and 80s, when you would actually see a lot of these in abundance, that Overstreet used to actually publish in the Overstreet Guide, right, that anything that was below a 2.0 was basically worthless and not of enough value to collect. And I know people can't believe that now, but so we, sadly, I'll admit, I mean, some of these I gave away, I donated, things like that,
Yeah.
Which is a lot different. I mean, this was the 1980s, so this is only 30 or 40 years removed, right? Now it's 60 or 70 years removed, but yeah, that's the way we kind of thought of comics back then.
And I see these books a lot, actually.
Really?
I've got one or two clients that are really hardcore. There's one guy, I can mention his name if you want to find him over on IG, is Tony Iezzi.
Okay.
And over on IG, just how it sounds, Tony Iezzi. And he loves these the thrilling comics, police comics, Starlink, all that stuff. And so he brings me lots of these books. If I might even have some of his books over there from this time period, maybe I'll go look and see if I have any. But yeah. So, and the funny thing is, like you said, they either come in really bad shape, like you said, they're falling apart, or they're like actually in some cases beautiful, like absolute high grade, lovely condition. So, but yeah, they're fun to they're definitely fun to work on. That's for sure.
They're amazing. I mean, just the printing process back then, the way they did the art. You didn't have any of these really exaggerated features like, like with Image Comics as an example. But these were people that were real illustrators back then, that had degrees in art and understood the human anatomy and almost, I think, the limitations of the color printing process, I'll say, brings a little bit extra to these books.
And I think with the sale of that Secret Wars page, the first symbiote, black symbiote in Secret Wars sold 3.5 million. It's now, I think that really legitimized comic art as an art form. I mean, I'll be honest, when I was in high school, my art teacher really did not like me doing comic book related artwork. He didn't
right.
He didn't like it at all. He resisted it, and I loved it, and that's what was bringing me closer to art. And but it's nice to see these books, this artwork is getting its due. And I mean, they're fetching the same kind of money you get for a Picasso. We were talking about a Picasso last time I was on here, but this comic book illustration is now fetching the same kind of money as paintings from some of these master artists that we've grown to think of as the best. So pretty amazing.
Yeah, original art has been going up in value, of course, the past couple of years. And I remember turning down so much original art, $50 a page, which seemed expensive at that time.
Oh, going to the convention, give them away at conventions.
Yeah.
Splash pages, covers. Yeah.
We
didn't know. Who would have thought? Right?
MJL Comics, which I didn't know this till today. The initials came from its founders, Morris Cone, Lewis Silverclight, and John Goldwater. So Morris, Lewis, and John, MJL. Produced comics from the Harvey A. Chesler studio. We talked about him in a previous episode. That was not his middle initial. He just thought it sounded cool to have A in the middle of his name. But they produced Blue Ribbon comics featuring Rangatang the Wonder Dog, Top Notch Comics, which issue 28 changed to Top Notch Laugh, Pep Comics, which of course later will be popular for Archie, featured the Shield, which will actually be a character later in the 1960s when Archie tries its hand at superhero comics. The Comet, Zip Comics featuring Steel Sterling, whose byline is actually Steel Sterling, the Man of Steel, stealing that from Superman. The Scarlet Avenger,
nice.
Mr. Satan, Black Jack, and the Web. Oh,
yep, beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right, then some other publishers. Crestwood, whom I've never heard of, but I have seen this book before, Prize Comics, featuring the Black Owl, the Green Llama, and Frankenstein. Columbia Comics, who I'd never heard of either, but I have seen this book, Big Shot Comics, featuring Skyman, The Face, and I love this name, Sparky Watts.
Sparky Watts. Sparky Watts.
Novelty Press published Target Comics and Blue Bolt. I love that Blue Bolt cover, the way there at the bottom right, where it has Blue Bolt done in lightning, but then the B of the blue, it also has Blue Bolt written in marquee style down the edge of the comic.
Nice.
So it's horizontal across the top and then down marquee style on the left. So I thought that's kind of funny the way they did that. Nita Publishing, which I'd never heard of, nor if I knew of this comic, I'd forgotten about it. Whirlwind Comics. Bill Barra Publishing and Cyclone Comics. Again, if I've seen these, I've forgotten about it. And then Street and Smith featured Super Snipe Comics, which actually poked fun at costume heroes. So you come across any of...
It's the Cyclones I've seen. I think Blue Bolt has come across my
I would imagine has come across,
yeah. But like some of these, no. Big Shot Comics, Whirlwind rings a bell, but I don't think so. But Cyclone for sure, and I'm pretty sure Blue Bolt. Not that exact issue, but that rings a bell as well.
Yeah, you got to think that some of these are probably like so low print runs too.
Oh, very, very.
But low print run could be in the hundreds of thousands.
I know I've got a Zip Comics at this back at the shop. I picked one up in a collection. It's an early issue too. It's under number 10, I believe. And but yeah, so but they're, and even in the condition it's in, it's worth a few $100s. So they're certainly holding their value. It's not going up, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of it for tonight. I just want to go through some of the superhero characters. Next week we will get into funny animal comics, so that will be great. And then we're going to follow that up with humor comics of the 1950s and 60s. I'm not really going to get into romance or westerns. And then the week after that, I will be showing off my Dale and Gold Key collection that I have. So nice. Give me a chance to show off that a little bit.
Yeah. All I can see today, I don't think Crime Patrol. I'm not sure exactly the years on this one. And baseball comics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's pretty neat too. It's an ANC publication. Then a few crime stories. I'm sure you've already done videos on that, I would think.
We have not gotten into EC comics. That's going to be a topic at some point.
Super popular. super popular. Right now.
Yeah. Those seem to kind of go up and down in popularity. One thing I noticed too, I was talking to someone this past week, is I don't really want to call them good girl comics, but like the risque type of comics are coming back into style, right?
Right.
I mean, we had the underground books of the 1960s and 70s, and then we had the backlash to those in the mid to late 80s with actual lawsuits and comic stores and owners getting arrested, which we talked about in the Comics Code Authority episode. And then they've kind of been out of popularity for a long time, but they're kind of coming back. Like Zombie Tramp is a hugely popular book, especially the more risque covers. The Sexy Vampirella. They're doing, of course, a couple of new Betty Page series. Did some reprints of, I think, Cherry, Pop Tart. So these are, I get a lot of people every auction I do. People are always asking for these books now. So,
like you said, it goes in phases. I think the superheroes are always going to be top tier, right? But these more obscure books, the ones you're talking about there, and these EC, pre-code horrors and sci-fi books are, they're certainly going to also they attract collectors as well too, because I think they're a little more rare and they're a little more less publicized, than Batman and Spider-Man and all the rest.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was about to say. Remember there's kind of a resurgence of those in the late 70s and the 80s. There's a couple of Kitchen Sink, I think, did some reprints of those, and I know I have some hardbound like Eerie and things like that in my bookshelf. But again, some of those covers and stuff, we're just talking about Cole. Some of those Cole covers are amazing stuff.
Yep.
And a couple of weeks ago we talked about, of course, like the covers of Alex Schoenberg, which is amazing stuff. But yeah.
I wonder where all this original art is. Is it owned by the family, collectors, the companies? I wonder where it's being housed. So they must still exist, I would think.
I know some Schoenberg is still out there. I was watching something on YouTube, and I, of course, can't remember. I'm sure I saved it my favorites. So I could watch it again. But this person was talking about original art, and he said that almost all of that original art is owned by 5 people.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say it was gone. I was like, oh, don't say it's gone.
No. About 5 people own all of it, and they're all millionaires over in California, and made money during probably computers and. But he said, yeah, about 5 people own all of that original art. The conversation came about because Fantagraphics in the past 10 years has been putting out these artist editions, which they're very large, the same size as what, the original drawing boards are.
Right.
And if you look at the credits of whom they're getting the art from in order to make these high resolution photographs, it's the same 5 people.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Own all of it.
That makes sense.
So
I know I certainly don't have any.
No. Now, I'll tell my one story is Richard that owns Bedrock City Comics here in Houston. He a couple of years ago, he was bidding on the original art page, the last page of Hulk 180, which is, of course, that first drawing of Wolverine, right?
Yep.
And I think he said he bid on it up to about $350,000.
Wow.
And then after that, he couldn't go any higher. So what he bought instead was the earliest known original art of that's still in existence of a Superman cover.
Okay.
So hanging up in his office is the original art to the cover of Superman 10.
10. Wow.
And it is amazing.
I bet.
It is amazing.
Man, I wouldn't want to. I don't think I'd want to hang that up in my office, though.
Yeah. He has a steel door, I think, on his office or something like that. But yeah, it's I think he said he ended up paying $300,000 or something for that. But it is beautiful. Every time I go by there and he's there, I'm like, can I come see it?
Nice. That'd be beautiful.
So
yeah, my only original art story is when I was I was in Quebec a few years ago buying a collection of CGC books, and the guy there had a portfolio chock full of original art. And he's like, I don't want this. I got some on my walls, you can see, but I've got so much extra original art here. Do you want it? I'll give it to you for a song. Just take it. And I'm like, I didn't know anything about it. I really didn't know. And it was a lot of DC stuff, a lot of Flash, I remember. And I said, no, I'm going to buy your CGC books. I probably could have got that stuff for, like I said, for a few $100s. And I passed on it. And yeah, it was a mistake. Because even less popular artists right now are starting to gain momentum, right?
Yeah.
It's not only the artist necessarily, it's also the content, right? What the image is, if it's a splash page, if it's a cover, yeah, man, I wish I would have bought it now.
Oh well, and all that is relative, right? Like I remember, and let me say hi to Micah the Great, of course. Glad you could join us tonight. And if anybody's new to the channel, please give me a follow. Please give a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you've got any ideas for topics. Jeff said he is looking for some fresh topics to come up with. So right now he's sticking me with coming up with the topics and stuff. So that's why y'all been stuck with me for about a month. But it's all relative, Kevin. Is back in the day when you would go to cons, like in the late 80s, early 90s, artists would sell their original artwork, and the prices were usually like, something not very amazing, just a page, but nothing really cool on it, $10. Yeah. Well, you didn't want those, right? Because they didn't have anything cool on it. But then the cooler pages were like 50 or 80 or 100. Well, that was a lot of money back then, especially to a, 18, 20 something year old kid. And now, it's like, man, I mean, I don't know. That's all I can say is that that's a lot of money, right? Because I remember my paycheck.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, late 80s was only like $100 a week, if that, right?
Yeah. Flipping burgers, make a minimum wage.
Yeah. And, we're talking about times when, gas was below $1, and I remember buying a packs of cigarettes for 80 cents,
Yep.
But yeah, beer was 25 cents. 25-cent beer night.
Yeah, and no one, I don't think anybody realized how big the actual, and I mean, it only makes sense that the artwork from within these books is going to become valuable more so than the actual books themselves. It makes total sense, right? And I just never put two and two together and even back then, if you were to probably contact one of these artists by mail and just look, I want to buy some artwork off you from some of your books, they probably would have sold it happily to you, mailed it to you for, like I said, $50, $100. They would have done it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
I have no idea what the Torak demon is. So I'm not sure if you're.
I can find out. I'm not
just
sure
making fun of me, or if that's something for real in comics that I just don't know of. But I remember also, like, you could get John Byrne to paint you like a huge whatever you wanted, right? Like one character, 5 characters, whatever, right? $5,000.
Oh, imagine if you had one of those pages from like 180 or 180, sorry, from like 120, 121 or 109. Some of my favorite Alpha Flight issues, that front with Guardian coming up.
Man, yeah, punching. The front cover Vindicator and stuff.
Yeah, I just checked on that. As Juggernaut, he's a demon or something like that. It's Micah the Great. Have you ever done a segment on the Sudarak demon Juggernaut? Because it's over to you, Shelby. The Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. I mean, the only Juggernaut I know of is the mutant Juggernaut.
The X-Men.
Yeah, from X-Men. So,
Do you ever do that? Do you ever do focus on like characters? Like, okay, today we're going to talk about Alpha Flight, and and then just focus on their first
yeah, Jeff
appearances.
Jeff did a couple of episodes focusing on specific characters. Like right before the Eternals movie came out, he did a little history of the Eternals and stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll remind him of that. He's we need to give poor Jeff a little bit of support. He's he's been going through it right now with, of course, the death in the family, and
Definitely.
and he does 3 shows a week on Whatnot, and freaking kills it. So I know he stays busy with shipping and all that stuff. So I think he's feeling just a little bit of pressure on maybe coming up with topics and having something prepared for the show and stuff. What up, Thunder God? I see the other guy, but where's the true star of the show, Jeff? That's what I just say, my friend. They just got back from Chicago from the funeral, and we're giving them another week off. So, and I think Thunder, if I'm not mistaken, Thunder, are you going to be doing another show this Thursday? I think that was the plan you told me. Let us know. But yeah, I was kind of curious. You if anybody, would have a more realistic idea of what the plethora of some of these golden age books are. I'm saying, just by virtue of people sitting them in to getting them cleaned and pressed and things like that. So
Well,
but you say you actually see quite a bit of golden age.
well,
Huh?
it depends who the like. Yes, I mean the most books I see here, I'll be honest, are modern books. The stuff you were talking about earlier, right? I just before I came on here with you, I was doing a submission for CGC, and it was entirely like out of 30 books, 27 were modern books. I think mostly from the 80s and 90s, but that's what I see most of. But I do see a hell of a lot of Silver Age book, and I do see quite a bit of the Golden Age stuff. But it depends on who the client is. I mean, like I showed you those books a moment ago. Those belong to, like I said, Tony, and he is a Golden Age fanatic, and he just gobbles up the Golden Age books. Like he goes on to the different IG auctions and on eBay, and he's always hunting down amazing Golden Age books, and he's got more for me to press too. And then I've got a couple of dealers that also give me a lot of the Golden Age stuff as well. So I do see a lot of the rare books. Like I said, some of the things that you showed there are familiar to me because I have worked on them. It's quite fun. But if you have IG, I really encourage you to go over. This is everybody. Go over and check out a fella named Sanderson Studios. He's a comic book conservator. He conserves the comic books. He takes the books to the next level. Like what he'll do is, if you've got a book that's falling apart, a Golden Age book in particular, that's brittle, pages are falling apart, the spine is totally detached, he will reassemble the book. He'll take the acids out of the paper. He'll treat the paper. He'll deacidify it, and then he will leaf cast it and then reassemble the book. And it's like magic. It's unbelievable. And he works on a lot of Golden Age books. So if you're a Golden Age fan, you will get a kick out of seeing his videos and his pictures.
I will check that. There's the guy Jitterbug on YouTube.
Yeah,
that does it. And no offense to him, I think it's interesting stuff, but the way he kind of edits up his videos, it's like these quick 2 or 3 minute videos. It's like, oh, I just want to see the end result. And such, right? But yeah.
Check out Kenny, because he actually they'll show pictures and sometimes they'll show videos, and you'll see the before, the afters, and the process, even in photographs. So you'll see the final results, and it's remarkable. And usually the kind of grade, he'll get a blue label with a silver conserved grade usually on the books he does. But it's unbelievable how the paper goes from brown to white. Like it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to see. I call him a true artist. He'll press and clean books too, but I think he primarily focuses on those challenging books, important books that are unfortunately not wearing very well over the course of time. And so people send their books to him to preserve, right? And it's pretty amazing to see. Again, Sanderson Studios.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I'm gonna go check it out. Now let me ask you, and I'm not sure if you have any knowledge of this. That is one of my goals for the next for this year is to purchase a few more Golden Age books in my collection. Is there anything out there still affordable? You know what I'm saying? I mean, do you have to have a bankroll? What's your experience with some of that? Is there still, you got to search it out and you might find it, or it's like, if you're not.
Well, the good news is the good news, Shelby, is more people are looking for Spider-Man books than they are Zip comics, right?
Yeah.
So
right, that LB Cole.
Right. So, but like I said earlier, there is that contingent of people that are veering away from the superhero stuff and going for these Golden Age books. And the crazy thing is, 7 years ago, these books, these Golden Age books, non-superhero books, EC, whatever, were quite affordable actually. Just in the last 3 years, they started spiking up, especially the grade ones, obviously. Unfortunately, now they're a little, harder to come by. But I think what you could do, a little trick maybe, not guaranteeing it's going to work though, is if you find books that have been graded and they're restored. And when I say restored, maybe books that have been that are
like the color
touch type stuff,
Yeah.
Because guys like Kenny can take the color touch off and then again do his work on it. And goes from a purple label to a blue label with conservation. It depends on the extent of the damage, right? But yeah, you could certainly do that. Just keep looking. I mean, it's all there is to it. But again, I think most people are looking for the mainstream stuff.
I know you can still find some of the funny animal books pretty reasonable. I've actually seen some Mile High copies of Famous Funnies. They're in the 9.0 range, for like a couple of $100. So not only do you get a great 1940s, 1950s, comic, but you get a Mile High copy, graded, and some of those are still affordable.
Here, I got a cool comic to show you. I'll go grab it.
Yeah. So y'all let me know. Is any of y'all into Golden Age out there? Let me know in the comments, or anything like that.
Now, this one's a very important and historically important comic. It's in really bad condition. It belongs to a lawyer friend of mine. He had me. I'm pressing a bunch of books, and I'm passing this one on to Kenny. Actually, I got if he can do it. It's all Negro Comics.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen this? This is the first issue, and this one is what's interesting about this book is it's everyone who worked on this company were all Black Americans. But as you can see, it's got significance. It's got chunks out of here. Mm-hmm. The pages are brittle. You'll notice down here, over here, it's not easy to see, but it's rounded. Chunks are missing. The spine over here has got chunks out as well. So I have to take some pictures, some close-up pictures of this and send them to Kenny to see if he can. And what he'll basically do is disassemble this book completely. He'll clean the book thoroughly. And then everywhere there's paper missing, he will add new paper.
And that's what I was about to here. There you go. Make you a little bit bigger to show that.
There you go.
That's one of the things that I've been curious of with the leaf casting and stuff. Not just adding the paper, but then Are they going in? They're probably not going in and recoloring, or
Some guys will. That's complete
some guys will.
restoration. He
Yeah.
doesn't do that though. He just puts it back together again, so that it's stronger. You know, all these pages that are brown are going to be like white as the day it was, manufactured, printed, and then he reassembles it, he restaples it, and then off it goes to get graded. And again, it's a slab that it's protected, and a piece of history is then properly preserved,
It's
right?
saved. Yeah.
If he can do it. Now, this might be too far gone. But I have seen some pretty crazy things over there on his Instagram channel that have been crazy impressive. I'm like, wow. And when I see that, I do feel a little inspiration to maybe one day go down that road, but that's a long time from now. There's a college actually not far from here, about 45 minutes. Maybe when I retire from teaching, they have an art restoration program there, and they deal with all this sort of things. I thought maybe I'd go, and I'll be the oldest person in the class, mind you. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to go there for a semester or two and just learn what they know about paper and preservation and conservation, right? And I don't know if Kenny is self-taught or not. I'm not sure, to be honest. But
yeah, I've researched some things. And I don't want to get into a technical talk here or anything like that. I do know that there's people that have been doing things with like they're amateur and like, oh, we'll do peroxide and UV light. Not a great idea. Not a great idea. It makes over time it will stiffen up the paper and actually make it brittle. Where there is a real process that's used by paper conservators that will deacidify paper and bring it back to a more stable color and such, right?
Yeah, and that's why I don't like getting into peroxides, and guys use those. They like to use those not the chem sponges, what do you call them? The magic erasers and what have you. And they have the bleaches and all that kind of stuff in there. And you know what? I've got friends who've used those things, both peroxide and the magic erasers, and CGC does not even care. They don't bother. And the funny thing is, I've done some experimentation. If you do add peroxide to the paper on a comic book and take a black light after and have a look, you sure as hell can see that peroxide was used. Some kind of chemicals introduced. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and this is, a detergent, it's a mild detergent. And, of course you can see how diluted it is, by the color. So it's mostly distilled water, really, with just like less than 3% of the solution. And, I have one video where, I did take a book and I used the magic eraser. I used the absorbing. Nothing really happened. And then when I did this solution, it was like, wow, all this brown stuff started coming up. And, Rick was able to actually tell me what that chemical process was and what had happened to that paper. And it's in the comments of that video. So please, y'all go check that out.
Now, what would you use the chemical you just showed us there, the diluted chemical, you would use that to clean what exactly on a kind of, so you got a comic that has what issue? Like, for example.
So here is, this is a stack of books I've had around for a while. Some cool Sergeant Furies. I thought about collecting the whole set at one time, but I didn't. And a couple of these books, do have some dark staining, obvious dirt, things like that with them. some of it, I'll just be honest with you, is my patience is pretty thin with sitting there with a freaking eraser and working it, versus I can just slap some detergent on,
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So some of it, I'll have to admit, is more of a patience thing. But I will admit, like I said, that one book, which I did have behind me at one time, I think I moved it because I'm sending it in to get graded. That Strange Tales books, what had happened to the paper, the dry cleaning process did not fix.
When you put the solution on it and the solution dried, or you wipe the solution off, did you lose the gloss, or is the gloss still there?
No, the gloss is still perfect. Yeah, the gloss
Wow.
is amazing. So this is actually a book that I just did. This is my first time doing a magenta cover with trying it out. And so I did a little test, and it did want to pull up the red ink. So I just worked the white space with it, but you can see
Lovely.
see the gloss.
No, it's good. Yeah, it looks very nice.
And
There's ways of bringing the gloss back anyways, really. There's a little trick to bringing it back.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous. What was I going to say? I mean, oftentimes if you've got a stain, simply distilled water will get rid of it. Honestly,
it will. Now there is a process. I haven't found a book yet to work with, but this is blotting paper that I purchased, where I've watched some people use paintbrushes with distilled water and start working that stain out towards the edge and stuff. Because what I've been using, of course, are my silicone sheets.
Yep.
Underneath the paper. But like, I've used silicone sheets like I would paint miniatures, and you would make a wet palette with silicone.
Yeah.
So it is slightly porous because it allows some of the moisture of the sponge underneath, so it keep your paints wet. Where this is going to be slightly different, right? This is blotting paper, which is absorbing. You're taking that moisture from a high concentration to a low concentration. So it's just, it's basic diffusion, right? Of pulling that extra moisture out as you're working that stain. It's not anything I've tried yet. I know about it in theory versus something like this, which is porous but not absorbent.
Right.
But
you see why I don't do it. You see how much time it takes? It takes forever. It's a very time consuming endeavor to do, even though I know you say you don't like the dry erasing. I'm used to the dry erasing now, but I don't know, just the water and the wetness and the just not for me at this point, on this stage. It's also very time consuming. And like I said, you start down that road and then something happens and it just becomes a nightmare. So for me, I just keep it simple. I would like, if he has a product that gets rid of foxing, that's what I would like to.
I've not seen anything except for people doing the peroxide stuff. And like I said, I researched the chemical, what it does chemically to paper fibers, and I wouldn't do it. So
no, I agree. It's not good for the books at all.
No.
I know that. Again, I think Sanderson can get rid of that stuff. He's got a different chemicals as well too. But you check him out, and everybody else check him out.
Check him out. Maybe we'll even see about getting him on the show or something. Then.
Yeah, he's a genius.
That'd be really great.
Definitely.
So, that's definitely something interesting. All right. But with that, we're right here at about 8:30. Thank you all for visiting and tuning in tonight. Hope y'all have enjoyed this. Next week, we will be having, of course, part 7 funny animal books. What you got going on this week? I know you still got some subscriber contests going or something.
I always have subscriber contests going. I'm trying to get the numbers up. So my next big contest is at 1,500 subscribers. And when I get there, right now, I know I'm giving out a $250 gift certificate to my services, at thecomicdoctor.com. And I'm probably going to give out a couple of slabs. I just haven't figured out which ones yet, but I'll find a couple to throw in there. And and then later this week, I'll be over on Robert Meyer Burnett's station again, the Robservations. I just talked to Robert today, and I'll be giving out a great copy of Boba Fett #1 in commemoration of this fantastic Disney Plus show, Boba Fett, which I'm being very facetious. It's not that great. But anyways, we're going to give a book out anyways about, to celebrate it.
Well, if you get a chance, maybe drop that link down in the comments or something, Comic Doctor, so people can find that. Now, for them to get subscribe to your contest, what do they need to do?
Yeah, just come on over to the Comic Doctor YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, and leave as many comments as you possibly can, even if it's just a thumbs up. You got to comment. If you don't comment, you can't win. But so subscribe and comment to as many videos as humanly possible. That's what I suggest.
All right. Sounds great. And you drop videos how often?
2 to 3 times a week. I just did an unboxing today. You were over there. And then I'll be doing another unboxing probably this week. I got a couple of boxes en route as we speak. And I'll probably do another episode of What's in the Press probably on Wednesday or Thursday as well. So I got a couple more days of being on there this week. So come on over. Come on over.
Right. Come on over. I will be dropping the video showing the process of me cleaning this book later this week. This was the first press. I see a couple of areas that I can work on a little more, probably give it another press tonight. But as soon as I finish that, I will be editing and posting that video. So expect that probably by Wednesday.
Nice.
I will be on Pop Shop Live on Friday for the free shipping Friday. Usually 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You get free shipping. Buy as much as you want. It's all free. And then on Sundays, we have the Comic Book Expo on Pop Shop Live. So we have about 15 or so sellers lined out throughout the day, one every hour. So starting at about noon till around 11 o'clock at night. And remember, with Pop Shop Live, you pay one shipping price of $5.99. Everything else is free after that. So that's it. Buy as many books as you want from any seller, from any one seller, and shipping cost is very, very affordable. But be sure and go check that out. Over there on Pop Shop Live. I will be on Whatnot sometime this week. I'm not sure when. I've been doing a couple of noon shows and a couple of afternoon shows, little pop-up shows, and so I'll probably be doing that. But yeah, other than that, thank y'all all again for tuning in. Thank you, Kevin, for coming and visiting all the way from cold Canada and helping out tonight.
It's cold.
But with that, we're going to say peace, love, and comics. Thank you all. Good night.
Good night.